It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
With Ease US makes studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Hi, I'm Mitch, the co-founder of Cake, a sexual health and wellness company designed for today and designed for you. Yes, you. The entire product line can be found at hellocake.com, and it's also available in every Walmart near you.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated. Each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator. The You Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. You Like.
It is the Pete Sousa Show. We are live up here from the Alico building. I'm just getting some statistics here ready that I'm going to share with you guys to make some more mind-numbing points for you all. No, I'm kidding. It's good. I'm going to blow your brain up. The Pete Sousa Show is presented by Slovacic. Scotty Swingler is here. I am here. Brian Estridge will be here in a little bit, the voice of the TCU Horned Frogs. We are on the cusp of a huge meeting between TCU and Baylor on Saturday, 11 a.m. Central Time on ESPN2. Lowell Galindo and Aaron Murray on the call. Lowell is probably low-key one of the best play-by-play guys out there. I was getting ready for Baylor and Kansas State like 2 weeks ago, so I watched back the Baylor-Oklahoma State game. And I know Lowell a little bit. He was a ESPNU guy from the very beginning, like in Charlotte, and then he was a Longhorn Network guy, and now he is really like just ramped it up, dude, calling games, and he's phenomenal. So that's cool. He has a real big game feel, and we're going to need that because it's a big game. Baylor has got to win, and I am so curious to talk to Brian Estridge this morning. Allie Cadlebar is watching the show. What's up, Allie? All right, Allie. Your dog Andy is so ugly, right? So ugly. No, she's Allie's dog's Andy, and Andy is the best. Allie's in North Carolina in Raleigh. She was a regular guest on the show. We got to get her back on soon. She's doing a great job in Raleigh too. Allie works, and I promise I'll get back to Brian Estridge in a second. She works at WRAL, and Scotty, that is the station. The kid there broke the story about Bill Belichick recently, just how sideways things are going there. Yeah, so Allie's doing good work herself, we think. We don't have much proof of that, but if you check her Facebook page, she's always up early smiling. Yeah, we miss Allie, don't we? Allie was the best. Yeah, Allie was rad. I think that's pushing it. Okay. I know I really am dying to talk to Mr. Estridge about this because there is an identity crisis right now with TCU. As far as I'm concerned, like, who is this team? And obviously the quarterback play is what jumps off the page at you. And you've got almost 2,000 yards that Josh Hoover has thrown for, along with 6 touchdowns. I'm sorry, 6 interceptions. Now that's the issue. 18 touchdowns. Sawyer Robertson, 19 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Sawyer has thrown for 2,100 yards. So that matchup in itself is going to be awesome. Of course, we'll talk to Matt Estridge about that. I'm going to do a little comparison and talk about those 2 quarterbacks probably after that. But I want to start the show talking about the state of college football and coaching. And I did a little research this morning, and I was not surprised when it's great when you do stuff like this and your research supports the point you were looking to make, and you don't have to like dig for it. You know what I mean? What are you laughing at? It's a Swingler over there.
Is that confirmation bias or is that research?
No. Listen, this is research. You're going to like this point. So
I'm ready.
College football. To this point in the season, okay, we are at October 14th. There have been 6 coaches who have already been fired in college football, FBS level. Brent Pry at Virginia Tech, Deshaun Foster at UCLA, Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State, Sam Pittman at Arkansas, James Franklin at Penn State, and the recent one, Trent Bray at Oregon State. Last year, okay, in 2024, 3 coaches were fired during the season. None of them had been fired by October 14th. None of them. The first one, ECU fired Mike Houston, and I think that was October 20th, right? In 2023, one FBS coach was fired during the season, and it was Mel Tucker, right? So there was all kinds of stuff going on with that situation. Now, there have been previous seasons where there have been a bunch of guys that have been whacked, in season, but never this early, right? And we see the numbers like, oh, wait a minute. And you know who I left off here? Trent Dilfer. Yep. That's 7 now because Trent Dilfer just got fired. So that's 7 coaches before October 15th. We are in, we know it, but like this is real confirmation. Like, athletic directors are no longer in charge. They never really were because you're really only as powerful as your boosters allow you to be. But in a world now where that money matters more than ever, if a bunch of big time supporters of the program have a bug up their ass about a coach, and they say, hey, what's the buyout? Okay. Can we go ahead? Bum, bum, bum. Here you go. Here's $50 million. Me and JT, who owns Old Town Road over there. He and I are going in on it, 26 million apiece, whatever. Right. And it's not going to stop, I don't think, which is like super weird because, the inmates are now running the asylum. No offense, but like inmates being fans. And because these guys are fans, they're just super fans with a shitload of money. And without them, like, you need fans, right? You need support. That's why we do media. That's why all of that is so important to sports in general, because we want fans to have access to players and coaches and organizations so they feel more invested and they'll go to games more, or their viewing experience will be pleasurable. So all of that makes sense. Like fans, media, all of that. I love it. It's all good. But like, you can't have these guys basically coaching or running these programs, because you're not giving the opportunity for coaches to establish themselves, right? Over 1, 2, 3 years. I think we were talking yesterday about Matt Rule, like when he came to Baylor, he eventually turned it around, but it took a minute or two. And James Franklin, in all fairness, in 2021, he went 7-6 and they extended him for 10 years. Like, I don't know. That's the other side, right? Like, so maybe I just destroyed my argument. Like, well, clearly the AD and the powers that be don't know what the hell they're doing either, because now you got to pay this guy $50 million. He definitely, there was ROI, as they like to say now. That's one of the buzz acronyms, right? Return on investment. That's what they call it in the business. What business? Who knows, right? But no, like, he won, I think, 10, then 11, then 13 games. But then he got fired because he couldn't win the big game. And truth be told, I've wrestled with that a little bit as somebody who thinks like they know a little bit about football. And I don't know. I mean, you got to win those games. You do. And if you don't, you get fired. And Penn State wants to be viewed as like a Georgia, as an Alabama, and if you're Ohio State, and if you're not winning those games, I mean, it had become more than any kind of coincidence, right? So I understand it. I don't understand it in the middle of the year, or maybe I do, because now more than ever, it's like, well, God forbid the guy turn this around and we have to keep his ass, which is exactly what this was about, firing James Franklin. But my overarching point is like, there is no more institutional integrity. It is crazy how, these guys with money, like my buddy Bart Smith, right? Bart is a crypto guy, all right? And he is like wildly successful. One of my best friends in the world, right? He's moved over to this company called Avalanche, right? There's a chance that Bart is one of the guys that's like calling shots as to like who's going to play quarterback at Vanderbilt soon, because that's where Bart went. And trust me, he will not shy away from the opportunity. And honestly, I feel pretty good about Bart being in charge, because Bart knows football. Bart knows basketball. Like, honestly, Vanderbilt will be lucky if Bart Smith decided, hey, I am going to take my disposable income and I'm going to allocate much of it towards the Vanderbilt athletic department, and keeping going what we have now. And on the basketball side, elevating it. Like, Bart's as good as you'll get. Like, I don't think there are a lot of Bart Smiths out there. Really, I don't think half these guys know what the hell they're talking about. And when I say that, I mean boosters and stuff. So it's going to be the jury's still out, dude. Like, what's this going to do to college sports? You can't put everything in a goddamn microwave. Like, you can't do it with relationships. You can't do it with your performance at your job so you get a promotion. You can't do it with your money. I mean, like, wisely you can. You take some big swings on investments and stuff, but like, if you're going to tell me you're going to the Borgata in Atlantic City and betting on black, like, I think you're a schmuck. I've done it. It doesn't work, not with consistency. So that's my opening rant, and I just had to get that off my chest because it's scary what's happening in college football, and I think we're taking away from these coaches And really who's getting screwed, they think they're winning, but they're getting screwed. And I think players should get paid, but they're not getting the life education that allows them to succeed once sports is over with, because it doesn't last for most of these guys. The overwhelming majority, it doesn't last. And now we're not teaching kids about bouncing back from failure. You know, like Michael Jordan got cut from his high school team, right? Like, that's a great story, and he's the best of all time. You don't hear that about guys anymore that like enter college. It's like, oh, this guy was a 5-star, he was this, he was that. I mean, that's why the Sawyer Robertson story is great, because at every turn he was denied for so long. And now here he is after a huge game against TCU, maybe trying to win a Heisman. All right, we'll step aside. We're talking TCU Baylor when we come back with the voice of the Horned Frogs, the Pete Sousa Show, presented by Slovacics.
Bubble allows you to make it real and for it to actually work. So I feel like Bubble bridges that gap and being able to give people the opportunity to make their ideas come to life really quickly too. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built and have the control over it.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
Hi, I'm Jo from Face Theory. You're going to want to have a specific goal for your skincare routine. What do you want to achieve? Active ingredients are really strong, and if you're using too many at once, your skin can get overwhelmed. Don't overspend on products. Choose products that have scientific research behind them. At Face Theory, if you're not happy with a product, just say so, just give us a shout and we'll give you your money back, no problem.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone and then you're gonna use the Kodak Photo Print app. It's going to print you a 4x6 photo. I am just in awe. I love how these turned out. Also, the printer comes with a free cartridge of 10 photo sheets. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. Tailor the colors, fonts, and design to match your brand and seamlessly integrate with your WordPress website. Whether it's for events or appointments, Amelia makes booking simple, stylish, and perfectly aligned with your business. Enhance your booking experience today at WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia.
When you learn a language with Babbel, you start a journey that takes you further and further. Anytime and anywhere you wish. It's easy and fun. Broadens your horizons and keeps your brain fit. A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry for its dedication to helping individuals with bad credit secure loans. By making timely repayments, borrowers can gradually repair their credit history, thereby increasing their chances of securing better loan terms in the future. badcreditloans.com serves as a beacon of hope for those with bad credit. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
All right, the Pete Sousa Show. We are back learning about Scotty. He's a crypto guy. So have you look like?
Yep.
You got to check out Bart. I mean, real deal. Like, so he left. God, who was he? Susquehanna. He was with Susquehanna forever, and he kind of oversaw their crypto situation. Bart was known. Okay, he went on. I think it was MSNBC, right? That's the business one, yeah. And he was or no, CNBC, and he was known as the crypto king.
Wow.
Yeah, you got to check him out. You'll get a kick out of him. But yeah, he's always been ahead of the curve, and yeah, props to him. That's a big move. And I know he's excited about Vanderbilt.
I'd love his advice.
Yeah, no, we can get him on here and have him talk a little crypto.
All
We
right.
can maybe geek
That'd be
out.
hilarious, actually. That'd be so funny.
Yeah, that could be. It's all, he might even get pissed. I just talked about him though. He tries to keep he's like
Like
low
a low profile.
but
Look,
he's not.
Pete, I just noticed we're kind of low key in different color matching shirts today. I almost wore that color though. So
Oh, really? Why didn't you? I wear blue all the time.
I'm glad I put on my green today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Brian Estridge, like he needs like 5 minutes, which is perfect, because we can talk up this huge showdown coming up this weekend. Why?
Samuel says we need a please bear with me NFT. Samuel, if you're still talking about NFTs, you're like 3 years behind, 2 years
do
behind.
that
on
to
the crypto
Samuel.
game. No, I'm trying to help Samuel out. NFT is not the move, bro. It's not.
It's not.
It's not. Go ahead. What were you going to ask me?
What the hell are you doing sitting here with me if you're Mr. Crypto guy? I mean,
Well, none of my crypto is like gone to the moon yet.
Let's go.
But I'm pretty convicted about what I'm put in right now. So
I'm telling you, and I'm not one of them, but my friends with Do Re Mi are like crypto. That's all I'm saying. I'm not here.
Yeah, no financial advice on this show.
No,
we do
especially
need to
for
say
me.
that. We do need to say that.
Yeah.
This is all entertainment. But the problem with crypto investing right now is everyone wants the next Bitcoin. There's not going to be one, period. And there's all of these altcoins that all have potential to make you a lot of money, but most of them won't. Most of them are crap, or most of them are garbage. Most of them will be worthless.
And they all package themselves in disguise as the next
of course. They all are like, we're the next big thing.
Yeah.
And it's like I have heard it. You talked about gambling before the break. I've heard it compared to gambling because you really are. In some ways it is like the table. Like, let me pick this one and roll the dice. And if it hits, you're going to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
The odds are it won't, and you won't. So, diversify, whatever. That is not financial advice, but I have a play I feel very good about.
All right. What about the play this weekend?
Man,
Baylor TCU.
Yep.
There's nobody better. I feel like I'm on ground zero talking to you about this stuff.
Let's go.
How are you feeling about this game, this rivalry game in Fort Worth? I know the Green and Gold Show is going to be there remote on location.
We will.
You, Faith, Matt Mosley, doesn't get much better than that. How you feeling? Vibe check.
I feel good, man. I feel a lot better after TCU dropped that game to Kansas State, obviously. I had said before the Kansas State game, I don't know if there are two more parallel teams in America than Baylor and Kansas State. Well, this week I might say it again. I don't know if there's two more parallel teams than Baylor and TCU. And it's you lose this game and you're probably out of the Big 12 title hunt. You win this game, especially if you're Baylor, you're right in the thick of it. This game every year, no matter what the records are, is close. It's competitive. I think TCU had a blowout win a few years ago, and that was really an anomaly.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's in Fort Worth and off a bye also actually helps Baylor. Dave Aranda teams the last 2 years been better on the road. They've been, I think Dave Aranda's 4-1.
4-1
coming off of a bye. Exactly. So
I like that a lot. Dude.
So some of these things certainly look like they play in Baylor's favor. I think on paper, Baylor has the better team.
Yeah.
And yet Baylor was a 2.5 dog yesterday. So I don't think Vegas knows what to do with this game. I don't really know what to do with this game. If Baylor plays their A game, I think they can win by 2 scores. Would it surprise me if they go into Fort Worth and lose by 2 scores? No, it won't. So, like, who knows, man? I think we had an overinflated view of TCU after that UNC game.
Yeah.
And since then, we've learned UNC might be the worst Power 4 team in the country. And so that win doesn't look impressive.
Arizona State just got throttled.
Right.
So that
and
loss doesn't look impressive.
Well, and both of these teams lost to Arizona State in yearly similar fashion. Field goal late, lose by 3. Same score, 27-24, both these teams. And then, and I'm going to show you some more about common opponents here in a little while because both these teams have 3 common opponents. I have a graphic for you later in the show about common opponents. But against Kansas State, I mean, Baylor played one of its more poor games for 3 quarters and found a way to win at home. TCU didn't play great and lost on the road. I mean, how do you weigh those against each other? It's tough. It's gonna be a good game, man.
Well, and I think we love talking about Josh Hoover. I do, because he's a different kind of kid and he puts up huge numbers. And he makes amazing throws, but he makes mistakes.
Yeah.
And he's going to give you a turnover, maybe 2 every game. Is Brian here or Matt here? Sorry.
No, I was just letting everybody see your face.
Okay. It's Brian. Why am I calling him Matt? God, jeez. I think he's going to gift wrap an opportunity or 2 for a Baylor defense that doesn't get turnovers. I mean, that Kansas State game, the pick 6 late, that was the only turnover of the game for Baylor outside of, the field goal block, which is not a turnover. But I think the Hoover and his electricity weirdly plays into Baylor's hands. I do.
I said this on Please Bear With Me, what you just talked about. You've got kind of like weakness on weakness here. It's a Baylor defense that hasn't forced turnovers all season.
Yeah.
Outside of Jacob Redding. And then it's a quarterback who turns the ball over. Does that mean Josh Hoover has his best game of the year? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Baylor's made opposing quarterbacks look really. Jackson Arnold had his best game of the year against Baylor.
Yeah.
Right? Like Avery Johnson, arguably. But or does Baylor's defense take advantage? Pete, good news. Brian's here.
Oh. There he is. Let's see. Is he ready? Oh, is he ready? Oh, yes, Brian, what's that?
Fellas, sorry about that. Practice going a little long this morning, so I had to make sure I saw the back end of it just to see exactly what was going to happen on Saturday. And I'm here to tell you everything you need to know about the TCU Baylor game.
we didn't have any doubts about that ahead of time, man. Brian Estridge, the voice of the Horned Frogs, thank you so much for taking the time to join us this morning. We'll jump right into it. You're coming off the practice field where, I love talking to you work for the program, right? Yeah. I mean, like you're on the inside, and without giving away any secrets, what is the vibe right now around this program after that demoralizing defeat at Kansas State, which by the way, I knew was a dangerous game. I'm sure you too, but you want to win that, obviously.
Yeah, I think everyone saw Kansas State kind of gaining on it, right? You saw it the week before against Baylor when they had a terrific opportunity to steal one on the road. I think you knew that they were getting that ship righted. I think the mood, and I hope I can say this, Pete, right now, is pissed off. And just watching practice that these coaches are, these players are, they're disappointed in how they played against Kansas State. They can't really put a finger on it as to what went wrong. Obviously, you can talk about the couple of 3 turnovers, but these turnovers weren't caused by exotic defenses or anything that Kansas State did that confused TCU. They were just plays that are normally made by Josh Hoover and company that weren't made this week. And so, I asked Sonny Dykes last night on his coaches show, I said, as hard as it is for coaches and fans to do, can you chalk this one up as as simply one of those games where, things just didn't go the way that you wanted to. And he looked at me and he said, I don't like doing that. I think coaches want to know answers. They want to be able to fix problems. They want to be able to correct things. I mean, there's a lot of work going on that practice field right now to try to just work on simple little things, like the lateral, the backwards pass that Sonny Dykes talked about post game. They throw that 1,000. I've seen them throw it. I haven't seen them throw it 1,000 times, but I've seen them throw it 164. I went back and counted, and they didn't throw it backwards at any point in practice. Now you had a problem with the tackle who didn't get his guy right, so the defensive end's upfield. Josh has to kind of change his arm slot when he does that. The angle's a little bit different. You throw it backwards, and then if you're Ed Small, you got to get on top of the football. You don't do that. DJ Rogers makes a little bit of an effort. All of a sudden, you wake up and you've given them 7 points, and and that was a disastrous play. That I think if you watch the game, Pete, it felt like it took TCU a couple of series to kind of get that out of that taste out of their mouth too.
Yeah, well, I mean, and we're familiar with that here with Baylor. I mean, sometimes it just takes a minute to start the lawnmower up, period. Notorious for slow starts. This game is so easy to sell. You have two amazing quarterbacks. You have a rivalry game, and you have two teams who absolutely need this game. On the TCU end, what is the feeling like as far as this game against Baylor being a rivalry game and also being so important, a must-have?
Yeah, there is a big difference between the win or loss in this game. And I'm not just talking about the record. I just think if you look at the rest of the schedule, you've got a real opportunity here. Maybe at the beginning of the year, you thought the front end of the schedule was going to be a little bit harder than the back end. Now you kind of look at the schedule and you're thinking to yourself, well, BYU looks like they're really good. Cincinnati looks like obviously they're really good. Iowa State, is still going to be a quality team. So, you got some work ahead of you. This is one of those where you got to get the dub. This is one of those where if you don't get this one, you worry about things sort of snowballing. Now you got West Virginia next week, and then you got an open date, I think it is, after that to sort of get ready for that gauntlet at the end. But this is that kind of it just feels like that teeter game. You're sort of teetering on eight or 9 wins. Or is this going to end up being a 6 or 7 season? And the way college football is today, that makes a big, big difference. I mean, TCU won 9 games last year, and people didn't recognize it. People didn't know that it happened, and so that tells you what you have to be in college football. So I think it's a very important game that really will decide how this season shapes out. We're going to look back at the end of it and go, that's where it went good, or that's where the wheels came off.
Now, in order for it to go good, Josh Hoover has to have a big game.
Yeah.
He is one of the more fascinating quarterbacks in the country, not just because of the numbers, but because of the young man that he truly is. Again, I want to tap into some of your access. This is a defining moment for him in his career at TCU, riding the ship against the Baylor team in a huge game. Have there been moments or a moment where you have noticed, whether it's on or off the field, just how strong his resolve is? And where you've seen his leadership skills just shine right through?
Yeah, I think in the game before last against Colorado, late in the fourth quarter, there was a play that was an egregious error by an official, and I say this, I want to make sure I word this right, Pete, because this was not him making a scene or anything like that, but he was pointing out his frustration with the call to an official and to really, letting his teammates know that, hey, we've got to overcome this. And that was a point where we really saw some emotion from Josh that I think was important for this team to see. That, and then after the game Saturday against Kansas State, where he quickly sort of stepped up. Coach had made his conversation, had his conversation with the team. It was fairly colorful, as they say. And then Josh simply, without hesitation, without being prompted, stood up and said, on me, my bad. This one's on me. I've got to be better. This team's only as good as I play, and I'm going to get it fixed. And he looked him in the eye and he said, fellas, I want you to know that I'm built for this. I'm built for these situations. I'm prepared for these situations. And when somebody tells you that, you got to trust them until they prove you different, right? And I think we're going to see a guy who really bounces back. That he prides himself on being even keel, and I think that you're going to see a little bit more of an emotional Josh Hoover down the stretch here, showing his team what he's got.
How has his game evolved? I mean, again, as a dude, I was lucky enough. His sister, when I was working in news in Waco, she was in Waco.
Yep.
And so she was just like always trying to get a feel for the business. Just one of the best people out there, just from a distance, getting to know her a little bit. And so I can say, okay, Josh obviously comes from an amazing family, but on the field, right, he has continued to grow as a player. Somebody like you that sees every snap, how has he refined his game?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of different ways. One is, and it still will flash up every once in a while. When Josh showed up here, he was a baseball player and a football player in high school. He was a terrific pitcher. He was top 10 in the state in strikeouts at one point at Rock Hall Heath. I think when he first got here, everything was a four-seam fastball. And now he's realized that everything doesn't have to be a four-seam fastball, that he can throw the changeup every once in a while, that he's got to put touch on it, that he's got to put air under it. And I think that, that has been one of the areas where he's really grown. The other area is progressions. He spent a lot of time this summer working on those progressions. If you come out and you watch Josh practice, it's funny, Pete, Justin Fuente was part of our broadcast team early in the season until he got a job with the college football playoff, former head coach at Virginia Tech and Memphis. And the first time he watched Josh practice, he turned to me and he says, "Man, I don't know what that kid's doing. Is he taking this seriously?" And I said, "Well, you got to tell me what you're talking about." And he would roll out to the left. This is 7-on-7, no rush, anything like that. He would roll out to the left and he would make a difficult throw. He'd drop his arm slot and throw it, or he would try to loft it over. And what he was doing was playing in his mind what he thought he might see against that play. And until Justin knew that, he thought, "What's this kid doing? He's just jacking around." When in actuality, every play for Josh Hoover, whether it's with live rush or not, is an opportunity for him in his mind to play it out. And so he works on all the different pass angles and what he has to do, whether he's got a rush or not. And to me, that's a sign of a mature quarterback. Young guys show up here, they just want to make sure they make the right play. They just want to make sure, I got to get it to that running back. Okay, great, out of the backfield. Now he's, all right, I got that running back there, but I'm looking at that tight end, or I'm gonna sidearm it here around a defensive end, all kinds of things like that. So I think that's the biggest way that I've seen him improve is how he practices, and the fact that every rep is important to him now.
Dude, that's great. That's great intel right there. One of the things you talked about prior to the season was TCU having a quiet off season, right? Like wasn't a ton of noise. And I believe too, to this, like that's healthy for a team nowadays. And you talk about like the cohesion with this group, guys been together, a little bit more so than maybe some of the other teams around the Big 12. How has that paid off for TCU this year? Just guys and their bond being stronger than maybe the team that they're lining up across.
I think, and we can stick with Josh Hoover in this offensive line as a perfect example. They're all roommates. They all live together. Josh has lived with offensive linemen since he came here as a freshman. I think that's important for them. They do stuff off the field. This is as tight a group as I've seen. There haven't been any kind of issues or. In fact, I'm sitting here, Pete, trying to think if there is even been now. There've been some pushing and shoving going on in practice, but there's not been. You just don't see it. You just don't see any kind of drama like that. I think that's not only a testament to players, but I think it's coaches as well. I think what Sonny did in the offseason kind of cleaned up the staff a little bit. It wasn't much. It wasn't a lot. But he just took care of a couple little subtle things that needed to be fixed to where everybody is on the same page. And everybody here is bought into what they're doing on both sides of the ball. And I think year two of Andy Avalos' system helps in that regard as well on defense. I think that, Kendall has the kind of coaches that he wants around him right now and running this offense. And the cool thing about Sonny is he gives them autonomy. Those coordinators, this is their side of the ball. He makes sure that they have all that they need to be successful. And I think because of that, you know, it really trickles down to the players. When you see coaches that all get along, coaches whose families do stuff together, I think that starts at the top with Sonny, with the culture that he establishes, and it works its way all the way down to the kids. And then, you know, you opened up a player performance center right before the season that you know, is second to none. And I'm not just talking about a weight room and rehab area, but you know, you guys have all heard about the snow room and the things that they do.
Oh yeah,
to practice for them. And so I think when they know that you're taking care of them, I think it goes a long way in their commitment level, both emotionally and physical to you.
All right, don't resent me for this next question, but you mentioned Kendall Briles, okay?
Yes.
And that's a guy who I feel like is morphing into a head coaching candidate, right? When we see these jobs open up, I'm like, why isn't his name being mentioned? What have you seen about him growing under Sonny Dykes, right? Just on the leadership side that makes you think, oh, this dude's ready.
Yo, there's no question that he's ready. I mean, not only has he become and has been for a while a terrific play caller and quarterback coach. The time that he spends with Josh is amazing. But the thing that he has done is when he walks in the room, and you can talk to defensive guys about this, he commands respect. You know, folks know Kendall as a former player or as a coach or as Art's son or whatever it is. But when you get to know him as a man, the thing I love about Kendall, and it's something, Pete, that, you know, I try to work on, that I try to teach my kids, is when Kendall is talking to you, he is looking you dead in the eye, and he does not waver. And I think that means a lot to these guys, and I think it'll mean a lot, you know, wherever he lands, if he does get a head coaching job, and I hope he does one day. I mean, I hope all those guys that want to be head coaches get an opportunity. But I think that's the thing about Kendall, is you find out that he's a really, really good person who will look you in the eye and tell you the truth. And that's something that might be missing a little bit in society today. You get a lot of guys that tell kids and players and other coaches what they want to hear. And I think when you can tell the truth, in the end, that pays off. And I think that's what you get with Kendall.
And that's all you have now. You know, we were talking before you came on. 7 coaches have been clipped already at the FBS level with Trent Dilfer. And it's like, man, you know, last year, nobody was let go at the FBS level by this time in the season. And so I think you're right. Like, what else do you have at this point, right? Then that bond and that freeway to truth to the person you're talking to. That's a great point you bring up. Couple more things.
And by the way, Pete, the way the world is today, as far as NIL and the transfer portal, you better be truthful, because it's going to come back to haunt you. You know, how many times we played Abilene Christian earlier in the year. Stone Earl, the quarterback there, started his career at Abilene Christian, went to North Texas, went to Marshall. Guess what? Came back to Abilene Christian. Guys come back today.
Yeah.
So if you're truthful with them from the start, you know, you never know when you might need them again.
Yeah, that's true. And that's some of those guys. You look at what's going on around the country, you know, big time coaches that coach in big cities, you know, like Willie Fritz in Houston, for example. I called a Houston game this year, and he told us, hey, just like what happened at Tulane, some of these guys leave for what they believe to be greener pastures, and then they come back home because they had a fruitful experience with you. So that's you nail it there.
We used to have a women's basketball coach here at TCU, who's now at Kansas State, named Jeff Mitty, who's done a terrific job. And Mitty's philosophy was, no matter if you think you're going to get them or not, kids coming out of the Metroplex here in this big city, you recruit the hound out of them, because there's a good chance you're going to re-recruit them. And if you've got some relationship with them on the front end, it makes the re-recruiting a lot easier, because so many kids do go away and then elect to come back. So that's why it didn't matter if that's a 5-star and it's, you know, she's headed to UCLA. Doesn't matter. I'm going to still recruit the hound out of her, because there's a chance that she's not going to have a good time at UCLA. She's going to come back home to Nana. And when she wants to come back home to Nana, I've got a relationship with her.
I love it. Coming back home to Nana.
Yeah.
So when these two teams play, by the way, I got a broadcast nugget that I don't know that we could use, but do you know, I've heard on good authority that, and this speaks to the quality of these two men, Sawyer Robertson and Josh Hoover were both offered a boatload of cash by Tennessee this offseason, and both said, I'm good where I am, because of commitment.
It tells you a little bit about it,
doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, how cool is that? This is an easy game to invest in and to root for these guys. with Sawyer, if there's been a thorn in his side this year, it's been his defense. With TCU, I've seen a little bit of that as well. How has the defense been doing, getting better over the course of the season? And how do you think they plan on stopping? It's not an air raid offense, but it kind of is out of Baylor.
It's an air raid offense with a physical running game, and which is a bad combination if you're on defense, right? But I think it's a real opportunity for this group to show what they're made of, because they have been in difficult positions for much of the year. Against Kansas State, they were placed in really difficult positions. Was this TCU defense? And I thought they actually played pretty well, Pete. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think it's a group that has, they've given up a few big plays here and there. The linebacking core is really, really good. I think Andy has dialed up some exotics that have gotten to the quarterback at times, but you've also seen success with a straight 4-man rush from this defensive line. I think the defensive backfield, we've had some safeties that have been out of position a few times, and I think that's been the biggest thing. We've also had some guys trying to go for the big play and miss, and it results in a big play for the opponent as well. So, I think that's been a fine line in the defensive backfield as to whether or not it's been truly successful or just kind of good. And I think it could have been a really, really good year so far, if not for a handful of those plays. But I just think that this defense, you just see it week in and week out. They're so much more comfortable in the Avalos system. It is a detailed, integrated, system that relies a lot on the guys on the field lining each other up, getting them in the right spot. And I think as these safeties get more and more time in it, I think it gets more and more easy, and that's a bad word to use, but I think they can play faster. And I think you're starting to see this defense play faster because of that experience.
How about, and this is the last question I have for you, who is a guy that isn't talked about enough playing for TCU that is just a great story that you root for? Because nobody knows these dudes like you do outside of the coaching staff. Someone who you think has an amazing story, and you're like, man, I'd love for this guy to pop on Saturday, because not only does he deserve it, but I get to share his story with everybody else.
Yeah, I think there's a couple. I think Joseph Manjak's an interesting story. That the transfer from Houston, started his career at Southern Cal, has been recruited 3 times by Sonny Dykes. Sonny tried to recruit him out of high school. He tried to recruit him when he left USC. He tried and recruited him here and got him here this year. The great story about him is, he hasn't had a great year yet, but he's had a really solid year. And I think we're about to see him explode. A couple of things about him. He's an old school guy. He doesn't wear gloves. He's a wide receiver that doesn't wear gloves. I love that, apparently when he was younger, and I'm going to get the story a little bit wrong, but apparently when he was younger, his dad, he was hounding him about getting some receiver gloves. So his dad finally got him some receiver gloves, and he dropped 2 balls in a game. So his dad took him away from him, and he hasn't played with him since. But then the story this summer, though, he's tubing on one of the rivers here in Texas, and they see an older man in distress fall off of his tube, actually having a heart attack. And he and another friend of his race to him, get him out of the water, start CPR, realize they need help. Nobody's cell phone is working where this portion of the river is. So Manjack takes off in a sprint for a really long distance through a field to get help. Help comes to the man, but what Manjack didn't realize was he had just run through a field of poison ivy, and he didn't know this. Joseph Manjack was severely allergic to it. He missed the first 7-8 days of fall practice because he was covered from head to toe in poison ivy. When he got back out here, they literally had to keep him in a hoodie, and because of the medicine that he was taking for it, he couldn't get in the sun. So he was covered from head to toe like he was playing in a burqa. Out there. And so to me, those are guys that you pull for, guys like him. DJ Rogers is another one, a tight end, great story, that I think has a chance to be a really good player. Those are the kind of guys that you pull for, that you want to have success. But Manjack for me is a guy that I'm waiting for him to have the breakout game. Dinged his ankle a little bit early on against Kansas State, got the one catch, and then really couldn't come back from that. And so I'm hoping this week is the week where he breaks out.
Brian, man, thank you so much for the time. It's amazing intel and insight, and you're compelling and entertaining too, man. I really appreciate it. The voice of the Horned Frogs, Brian Estridge, appreciate it so much, man.
Pete, next time I'll tell Sonny to kind of cut practice a little short. I got an interview with Pete I got to do.
Yeah, we'll see how far that gets you.
All right.
All right, Brian. There he goes, the voice of the Horned Frogs, Brian Estridge. That was some really awesome stuff. I as somebody who's just always admired play-by-play guys and does play-by-play, Brian is easily one of the best in the Big 12, or you could say country. And also, he gets it. He's not just a talking head like that. That his ability to break the game down and the team down is super special. So thank you very much to him for sharing some time with us. We're going to step aside. The Pete Sousa Show, of course, presented by Slovacics. We're going to talk to Scotty Swingler. We do want to get into maybe a little bit of a deep dive into this quarterback comparison. We know they're both amazing humans, but their football acumen, Scotty's calling one of them and their football acumen into question. Stay with us.
Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com.
What if you could clean clean? With bio-based formulas and deep cleaning enzymes. No dyes, phthalates, or mystery ingredients. Just powerful pods for your dishes and laundry. Now you can, with drops made clean, made to clean.
Welcome to Kitbag, the ultimate destination for football fans. Whether you're cheering for Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, or any other top club, for true football passion, think Kitbag. Visit kitbag.com today. That's kitbag.com. Kitbag.
It's the Restore Clarity Focus Patch, my little secret weapon for staying sharp, focused, and on task. Each box comes with simple instructions inside, so you always know exactly how to apply it. Each patch lasts for 3 days. I love that I can wear it all day.
Samsonite is the world leader in durable, high-quality luggage and travel accessories. Travel with Samsonite and pack confidence every step of the way. Shop now at shop.samsonite.com. Samsonite. At Tusane's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Visit Tusanes.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.
A house is a property, but we live in homes. Home sweet home. Homes where the heart is. We aim to deliver the best home buying and selling experience so you can spend less time real estating and more time living.
Unlock a world of convenience with Mullybox, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. Each box is tailored to your tastes. Mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com.
Better sleep, inspired by nature. Your back, hips, and shoulders will fall into perfect alignment in any position, meaning that you get deeper, more comfortable rest. Visit ecoterrabeds.com.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports Pete.
Welcome to Market XLS, your all-in-one Excel solution for investors. Designed as an enterprise-grade platform, Market XLS caters to investment managers, secure and efficient investment management and research. Book your free demo.
Everybody at Equilife really has a passion and a real interest in helping people feel well. How much further can we go to get you feeling even better? It is a complete partnership between the two of us.
So all you have to do is tap your Popple to the back of someone's phone, like that, and they instantly get your social media and contact info right on their screen. They don't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. So get your Popple today and start impressing everyone you meet. Make it pop.
It's hard to find supplements that work. No, thank you. Plant-based supplements made from the Earth's most powerful plants for your immune health, gut health, workouts, and more. Find out more at auraorganic.com.
Stability.
Thank you so much to the voice of the horned frogs. It's not horned frogs, folks. It's the horned frogs. Brian Estridge. That was great. We're looking forward to Baylor and TCU. I'll tell you what, man. I love the confines here at the Rogue Media Network and the Alico building. But this time of year, I mean, I go to the bathroom, right? And so I'm standing over the urinal like, you know, males do. And there below me are 3 crickets, like fighting for their life. Like, okay, so they're not even dead yet. So the grossed out emotion is canceled out by like the empath in me as the one cricket. Now they're crickets too. So is this guy going to jump on me? Right. And there's 3 of them, right? They're everywhere up here. I don't know what the deal is. It's actually better than last year. Last year it was like really, really shady. But it is this time of year in Central Texas. I love crickets. I don't like watching them die, especially as I urinate on them. But like that was just the state of affairs in the bathroom. So emotionally, I'm a little untethered. And then what do I say? Honest to God, I say to myself, Jiminy crickets. And then I realized I just said crickets, urinating on crickets that are dying. So, I mean, and that was just 30 seconds of my day. The Pete Sousa Show is presented by Slovacics. I'm sure they don't back that last little rant, but whatever. Also, Sikora Family Ford. Daniel Stark injury lawyers. Quickly, we're going to do the who needs Daniel Stark right now, Scotty, and then we're getting to the quarterback comparison. I need Daniel Stark really, really bad. I play golf maybe once or twice a year, and it's usually something like not like I'm a great guy, but it's usually some charity event, you know, that somebody else pays for. And they're like, we need like a 4th golfer. A lot of times I'll say no, because 1, I don't have clubs. 2, I know that I suck. And it's a kick in the balls to be out there and just really suck. I believe I could be a good golfer if I dedicated any amount of time to it, or at least decent. But at this point, I'm not either of those things. And so yesterday we go out, and it's like a best ball scramble. It was called the Bootstrap Classic. It was put on by Startup Waco. I went with David Smoke, of course, Rogue Media talent, icon, Texas High School Sports Hall of Famer, football. The guy's no joke, okay? And then it was John Valade, a partner here at Rogue Media Network, Corey Dickman, the czar of the Rogue Media Network, and myself, okay? Corey and I were by far and away the worst. And by the end of the day, I think you might say that I was worse than him. Now, it's a best ball scramble, and this always happens to me, by the way, which is, I know focus is an issue. I come out of the gate hot. They're like, man, the Pete, great shot. I mean, I had a couple of awesome shots, but golf is long, dude. I mean, it's like 4.5, 5 hours. Like, you know, one of the things that when Christy and I met, and it was well past like the courting phase, but she did bring up, she's like, dude, I'm so happy, you know, you're not like a golfer. And I'm like, why? And she's like, well, it's just like, it takes up so much time. And then, you know, I don't drink, but if you're date or you're married to a golfer that drinks, that is like a whole deal. Cause you got like 4 or 5 hours on the course where by the way, you can get drunk when you play golf. Like that's the one sport you can like do that very well. And you could do other stuff too. And then afterwards, you could do more of it on the 19th hole. And then you show back up home on a Saturday afternoon at 2, and you're totally useless to your wife or significant other. I'm useless in different ways, but I haven't been playing golf at least before. But I will tell you, I will not be playing golf anytime soon because my golf game is terrible. So I felt like yesterday was one of those times, and you guys know this on a serious note, if something were to happen to you on the road, God forbid, and you feel like you're in a bind or your insurance company is taking advantage of you, because they do. Mine did that to me, right? And I went to Daniel Stark, and I was made whole. And there are great people there. Daniel, for one, you know, the guy who you see on the billboards and stuff is the real deal. He's the man. Now, unfortunately, I don't think Danny's looking to give me golf lessons anytime soon, but if he could, I might take him up on that. So yeah, I need Daniel Stark. My golf game does, but so do you guys. If anything were to happen to you on the road. Okay. Let's switch now over to the quarterback club here. This is a marquee matchup: Sawyer Robertson and Josh Hoover. Now, I told Scotty before the show, because that's what we do. We go over topics and what are we going to talk about. And I said, I'm fascinated by these two quarterbacks for one big reason, okay? And I'm going to get to I'm going to wax poetic about these two dudes, and then Scotty's going to come through with the numbers. But both of these young men, I have on like impeccable information, were offered a boatload by Tennessee during the offseason, right after that disaster in the Tennessee quarterback room, left them without a number one. Both of these guys said no. And it's not like they said no and went back to their respective schools, TCU and Baylor, and said, can you match? They just said no. We're where we're supposed to be. We love it here. We love our team. We have a mission. Like, I bring that up because Sawyer Robertson and Josh Hoover, they're not just good dudes. They're two of the best quarterbacks in the country. These are not guys who, Tennessee was going after them with millions upon millions of dollars for very good reason, right? And they both rebuffed the offer. And we don't hear enough stories about like that in college football, right? And now both of them, I have the stats right here. You got Sawyer, who has thrown for 2,058 yards, 19 touchdowns, leads the country, and with just 4 interceptions. But the yards and the touchdowns lead the country. Right behind him, this is Big 12 stats, Josh Hoover, 1,893 yards, 18 touchdowns, 6 picks, right? And the completion percentage for both of these guys is right around 64%. You would like that to be maybe a little higher, but still, that's pretty damn good. So we've got like unique individuals going toe-to-toe in a game that is definitive for both of these programs. Scotty, join me now. And you basically said, I know who's a better quarterback, and there's not even a question.
Well, I ran the numbers because, and mind you, Pete, and I did verify this morning. We ranked our top 5 Big 12 quarterbacks preseason.
Yeah.
Josh Hoover did not make your list. He was Scotty's number 3.
Okay.
So I think very highly of Hoover. I still do. But what's really nice about comparing these guys, Pete, is they have 3 common opponents.
Oh, see, there we go.
And I would like to show you what each did against 3 common opponents. Against SMU, Arizona State, and Kansas State, Sawyer Robertson has completed 10% more of his passes. Yards, they are within 37 yards of one another. So they're both throwing for big yardage, right? But here's the other key difference. Sawyer Robertson has 10 total touchdowns to 2 total turnovers in those games. Hoover has 8 total touchdowns to 6 total turnovers. So this goes to what I said before we talked to Brian. Baylor's defense.
Brian Estridge, by the way, voice of the Horned Frogs.
Correct. He was great. Baylor's defense has not forced a lot of turnovers this season. I thought they should do it against Jackson Arnold. They did not. I thought they could do it against Sam Levitt. They did not. Here you have an opportunity again, a quarterback who in 3 big games has 8 touchdowns and 6 turnovers. You need to go get the football. For these stats, the completion percentage and the touchdown to turnover in particular, tell me something I've always known about Sawyer Robertson. That dude elevates against good competition. Remember, his worst game was actually against Samford of all opponents. Interestingly, Pete, if you compare just one more game, if you did their 4 best opponents, you would add UNC, which would super inflate Hoover's numbers here.
I was thinking that.
And you would add Auburn,
yeah,
which would also super inflate Sawyer's numbers here. So it actually doesn't help the comp, I think. Hoover played outstanding against the worst team in the Power 4. Sawyer played outstanding against Auburn.
But it helps your point as you run the numbers, like who the better quarterback is, right? Because UNC is doggy doo-doo through and through. Auburn is a team where the ball bounces the right way for the Tigers in a couple of instances this year after that Baylor game. They're a top 10 team.
Yep.
So, I mean, and that's factual in playing in the SEC. So, yeah, I mean, And also, too, I think one thing that we, unfortunately for Josh Hoover, and this is just like, hey, Sawyer just looks the part, right? Sawyer's bigger. He's stronger than Josh Hoover. Josh Hoover is a little undersized, not quite as athletic, but.
Well, and I would have told you my perception of these guys prior to looking at these stats. And by the way, as you pointed out, their completion percentage on the year, very similar.
Yeah.
But I would have told you, Sawyer's probably got a bigger arm. Hoover might be a little more accurate. But the numbers don't bear that out, especially, again, one-to-one comparisons here, common opponents. It's not truly one-to-one because of home and away and some of these other things. But that touchdown to turnover number really struck me there.
Yeah.
Really struck me when I looked at those 3 games.
Well, and I would love to see, Baylor blitz a little bit more. I mean, we saw
absolutely
that Jacob Redding pick 6. That was a corner blitz that ignited that whole thing. And I think, look, man, you just have to play with the cards that were dealt to you. Now,
yes.
You can't really say that in college recruiting. You actually went and sought out the cards and got them. But I'm going to give Dave and the Baylor coaching staff a break. You have a defense where I think to put a Band-Aid on some of your deficiencies, Dave, send pressure. Nobody can do it better than you.
Right.
I would like to see that more often.
Yep.
And that's something I think if you could do it against Josh Hoover to just kind of speed him up a little. Now, maybe he's the kind of guy that loves that. And we just heard Brian Estridge talk about, his ability to throw from, kind of like almost Pat Mahomes, once the schoolyard type of game starts, Josh Hoover, he's not backing down from that. He's probably going to excel. What would you like to see Baylor do defensively?
You nailed it. Put pressure on Hoover, force a couple turnovers. I think that's just crucial. And then, I want to see. It's an overused word, Pete. Lizzie's in the corner. She's going to criticize me for using an overused word in sports talk, but it's discipline on defense, man.
Yeah.
Both against Arizona State and Kansas State, you gave up a 15-yard penalty on the final opponent drive of the game to give them a shot to win.
Okay.
Fortunately, you blocked Kansas State's field goal. You didn't block Arizona State's. So I need to see discipline all around. Like Baylor has blown deep coverage in every game, 15-yard penalties. There was a touchdown in that Kansas State game, and I'm not sure exactly what happened, where I saw Devin Bobby jumping up and down. Kansas State was like on the 2. Devin Bobby's in the end zone, like jumping up and down, pointing, screaming, and then sprinting to the line of scrimmage as the ball is snapped. I assume because there was a miscommunication or someone wasn't lined up correctly. And as Devin Bobby was full speed sprinting towards the line of scrimmage, I presume to cover for someone's butt, the tight end runs right past him the other direction, wide open for a touchdown in the middle of the end zone.
Yeah.
So you can see these kind of breakdowns in communication and discipline and assignment. You got to clean that crap up, man.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons why fans are so frustrated with Dave Aranda. 4-2 is an okay place to be. And when you look at the Big 12 standings, Baylor's right there.
Yeah.
But when you're a defensive, mastermind, guru, whatever word you want to use, and you're still missing, you're not playing discipline assignment football in week 6, like we can blame the players all day long, but at some point, like you got to coach it. You got to coach it out of them or put new players in.
Well, let me ask you one more question about Baylor in this game. The slow starts, right?
Yeah.
There's just a train wreck to watch.
Yeah.
But last year, around this time, they began to start quicker.
Yeah.
Right? Like, do you feel any is it a time of year thing, or are you optimistic about Baylor being able to get the car out of the garage quicker in these games coming down the stretch? Because if they don't, they're going to lose 1 or 2 of them, and it's going to be good night, Irene.
Yeah, man, we'll find out because
another 11 a.m. start.
It is. Dave Aranda did explicitly say in a press conference, and some of me gets frustrated because it's like, no shit, Sherlock. But like he said something effective like, we talked in the bye week about needing to start faster. It's like, thank you very much. We've been saying that since the Auburn game. I don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But I mean, you don't know, Pete, because I would like to think that last year's 6-game winning streak to close the season and get right back into that like top of the Big 12 category was not an anomaly. I would like to think that's something that can be replicated. And people forget, like Baylor did that after coming off a really brutal road loss at Iowa State that was ugly. Like really they looked defeated, went into a bye, came out with their hair on fire.
Yeah.
You'd like to think they can repeat that, especially after coming off a thrilling home win rather than kind of a brutal road loss.
Yeah.
But for that 8-4 season last year, there's the 3-9 season before.
Yeah.
Where you kept waiting for the turnaround. You kept waiting for like that corner, and it never happened. So I think the next 2 weeks, Pete, you're on the road. You got your biggest rival, and then you've got a ranked opponent. We're going to know in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a Dave Aranda culture identity thing where, man, we're going to finish the season a lot better than we started, and that'll feel great. Or we're going to come out of Cincinnati like, all right, what's wrong? What do you fix? How do you adjust in the offseason? It'll be fascinating to see, bro. I don't know. The other thing I'm fascinated to see in this particular game, Brian hit on it. Baylor knows both these offenses very well at this point. Very well. Kendall Briles is not running the exact same thing that they ran at Baylor, but it's going to look so familiar to all of us who lived through those Briles years here. And we know what Spav is doing with Sawyer now. Both of these quarterbacks have those huge numbers because they're great, but also because these are two of the best offensive schemes in America. And I'm going to be, the geek in me is going to be thrilled to see like the chess pieces move for both offenses the whole game.
Yeah. And you know, I believe in, you know, I feel really good about Spav and Sawyer because I think like since, you know, Spav's arrived on campus, Sawyer's been a rocket ship. He truly has been.
Yeah. They are great for one another.
Yeah.
Sawyer fits what Spav wants to do. Spav makes the most, I think, of Sawyer's skill set.
Yeah, and the one last thing, this is just a neat little personal wrinkle. Yesterday, we had this cat for this golf thing. Graham Taylor was his name, and he played tennis at A&M, and he's getting his MBA at Baylor.
Sweet.
And he is from Houston. And anyways, he was. I mean, you just couldn't have a better dude. The attitude was like, and of course, he does Bible study with Sawyer. And after. It's just like and of course the kid is like on fire, like the happiest dude you've ever met.
Yeah.
You know, like, and he's talking about Bible study with Sawyer. And then afterwards, I get a text from him, "Hey, it was great to meet you." I was like, "Oh, awesome to meet you too, Graham." And he's like, "Sawyer says hi." Like he's with them probably right there, like doing the Bible study, like, and that's what Sawyer Robertson's doing on a Monday night, dude. Like this guy, like I want Baylor to be able and fans to be able to experience this to the utmost, and winning will do that, right? Because if you're losing, it's just hard to celebrate anything. But man, you got such a special guy playing quarterback for you, and how great would it be?
Yeah, I mean,
you know?
he's, you know, I don't always like doing these player comps because Gary Bohannon was incredible. Charlie Brewer was a godsend when he played quarterback here, but Sawyer is the best quarterback this school has seen in 10 years. It's just, he just is.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot. I don't know if you saw Taz Williams' tweet. We talked about it on Mosley's show yesterday. There's a lot of tension, I think, not only in the fan base, but even maybe some in that locker room about fan attendance at that Kansas State game, student attendance. And man, my hope, if you're a Baylor fan, they're watching. If this team goes on the road and wins against our biggest rival, and against a ranked Cincinnati. This isn't like the Cincinnati we thought in preseason. This is a good team that is right now tied with Texas Tech and BYU for the lead in the Big 12. If this Baylor team goes on the road and wins both these games, the next game is homecoming. We got to show out for that, man. UCF, that's going to be a win. You're going to see a win at home. And so if this team comes back home 6-2, Sawyer's humming, homecoming, I would hope that's a little spark back into the fire of this fan base. And you know, because you could come out of that 7-2, and then we're really talking. We're really talking confidently at that point.
Can we take a moment to dip into that a little bit? So what
Sure.
was, I don't know. I mean, I know I called the game. The attendance in the second half was putrid, right? And there's got to be
bad, bro.
Yeah, there's got to be frustration. what, and I even had somebody, by the way, and nobody likes to hear this, but somebody who, a football personality, big name, tell me that is almost a reason for Linda Livingstone to want to fire Dave Aranda, because
I think so.
Because there is such little.
I agree.
So that I just wanted to put that out. I hate that. But
and I think I said this to you a couple weeks ago, by the way, when you asked me. It's not just a fan support thing, because I think fans can be, as you said on the show earlier, fans can be fickle and stupid about what we want and emotional. But we are in the NIL era. Bottom line matters.
Yeah.
If you can't sell tickets, if you can't fill your stadium, you got to do something. You got to do something to get butts back in seats,
and
because
by
the money matters.
Yeah. And I was lucky enough on Friday, and this was not the person who told me that first comment, but I got a chance to talk to Tim Brando for like an hour about life, career stuff. Just the best guy in the world.
Yeah.
He is concerned about, he's like, they got a good team there.
Yep.
They got a great quarterback. Like, what the hell's going on? So the Taz Williams tweet, right? Like,
did you see it?
No, tell me about it.
Let me pull it up.
Yeah.
I gotta give me just a second.
And this is the wide receiver, right?
He's a true freshman wide receiver.
Taz might need to get off social media. He's very active, but that's a whole nother story.
But listen,
God bless him.
But I want to give him credit.
Yeah.
He's very active, and as a recruit, it was pro Baylor. Like, his activity was tweeting at other top players, like, come to Baylor with me. Like, he's been a great ambassador.
Yeah, and I've seen him, like, he retweets Josh Cameron stuff and is like the GOAT. Like, he's very
And from all accounts, an outstanding young man. I don't know him. Never
no,
met him.
he's probably a good dude, but go ahead.
He will likely redshirt this year. He did appear against Samford. He has not appeared in any other game. He's a very talented kid. Like, I would anticipate he starts next season with the receiver room kind of turning over.
Okay.
He retweeted Robert Griffin, which just kind of adds to the sting here. Here it is, Pete. Robert Griffin tweeted, 2 hours before the game, in Texas Tech student section and fan sections are full. The atmosphere in Lubbock is electric. And Taz says, student section, fire emoji, fire emoji. One, if I'm Joey McGuire and I see that, I'm on the phone. I don't know what tampering rules are right now in college football, but I have a feeling they are loose. I would have already called if I was Joey and said, you want to be a Red Raider? Because that tweet is frightening to me as a Baylor fan. And two, for the fans to get outraged when we talk about Baylor fans, I don't expect Baylor to be Texas Tech, but I have been a student and a graduate at Baylor games where the student section was ruckus and full and excited and as energetic as anywhere in the country. It has not been that this season. It hasn't.
What's the issue?
It's that home record, man.
Bullshit.
Yes, it is.
For college kids to go to
Let me
a game?
repeat. I've told you this before. Pete, I was a student for 4 years from 2011. My last football season was 2014 when we opened McLean. Despite an 8-5 season sophomore year, which was our worst. So just imagine that. Last year, Dave Aranda's best season in 4 years was my worst as a student.
Yeah.
We lost 2 home games in those 4 years. Ranked top 10 Oklahoma came to town multiple times. We dismantled them. Number 1 in the nation, Kansas State, came to town that 8-5 year. We doubled them up. I sent you highlights from that game the other day.
Yeah.
Floyd Casey, and then year 1 in McLean, we went undefeated, was, for those 4 years, I would argue, a top environment, certainly in the Big 12, and maybe one of the best in college football, and I am biased. These students who've been there, Jackson Posey and I talked about this on Please Bear With Me like a month ago. These students who've been there, conversely, prior to last week, had seen 4 home Power 4 wins and 13 losses, as well as a loss to Texas State. That does change the student experience. It does. When you get conditioned to get excited, stand in the heat, wear your Lion jersey, go crazy, scream with the Chamber of Commerce stuff, and then you lose and you lose and you lose. Yeah, you don't want to go.
Yeah.
It's not fun. Winning is fun.
Yeah.
So my hope is this Kansas State game, there's about 300 students that stuck it out the whole time and saw a game-winning blocked field goal. And I hope they went and told all their friends, you guys missed it. Like, sucks for you. That was awesome.
You
and
know,
I hope Baylor dismantles TCU in Fort Worth and gets a big road win against a ranked team in Cincinnati. Comes back for homecoming. Homecoming should give you a little boost anyway. Everybody should be excited. The weather will be nicer. Hopefully you've got a 6-2 team about to go 7-2. You watch Baylor dismantle UCF at home, and then I might believe that when Utah comes to town next, students are excited again.
You know, it's interesting because my buddy Christy Soto went to Baylor, is a reporter in Florida now. She was back for that game. She was exactly, I think, around your time. And she was back for that game, and she stayed all the way through, right? Like to the block kick, because that's what she did when she was a student. And like, that's how she's conditioned.
Man. It's a different culture now, and I'm not criticizing students.
No, I'd like to criticize students. I think they're soft.
I'm not.
I think they're soft. I think they're soft.
Baylor football from 2010 through 2015 created an expectation that every time you walked into that stadium, you were going to see a win. It might be one time against West Virginia, my junior year, it was like 63-10. We were there the whole time, just partying. It was awesome. It might be that, or it might be TCU 2014, 61-58. You might see the most unbelievable, crazy college football game you've ever seen.
Alcohol has nothing to do with this, right?
No, no, it doesn't. I actually never drank as a student at a game.
Yeah.
Never did.
Thank God for everybody.
So you can have that environment. But this program, since 2022, has created the opposite environment. It's if you come and sweat and get tired and stand outside and cheer, you're going to be disappointed. That's not on the students. That's on the head coach. You can fix it quickly. You got to win.
Yeah.
Win.
All right, there we go. Scotty Swingler. I mean,
let's go.
Where do we go from there?
All the Baylor takes today. Thanks, Pete.
Yeah, no problem. That was interesting. I mean, look, you're a compelling guy. We opened you up, and then here we are, 20 minutes later. He's one of the best for a reason. All right, well, that'll wrap it up for today. Tomorrow we're going to start a little later, like probably 11:15. Scotty, we won't run into Mosley, I promise. All right, but the inside the 12 thing, there's a whole. How about this? Well, I probably shouldn't tell the story. I don't want to get in trouble. Okay, we'll be back tomorrow, and yeah, God willing. And thank you, Slovacics. We'll see.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning. So we love Extraco.
Show. Sports.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me, and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
Show. Sports.
Our professionals are not only experts in managing urgent concerns, but also in providing top-notch preventative health care. We're proud to connect pet owners to a vast network of licensed veterinary professionals, ready to address any immediate concerns. Book your first appointment today.
Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.